Hi friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Dawn and today we're going to be continuing the sourdough waffles. Yesterday we made the batter for the sourdough waffles and today I'm just adding the coconut oil, the eggs, and the baking soda. So let's get started. I'm going to start by it's really just fluffed up really nice. Kind of break it down a little. And I've got my coconut oil heating on the stove. I didn't want to put it in the microwave. Go check on that. Okay, our coconut oil is starting to melt. I'm going to let it go a little bit longer here. And while we're waiting for the coconut oil to melt, I'm going to share with you again this book that I am cooking from. It is called Abundantly Nourishing Meals, Transforming Simple Everyday Recipes with Nutrient-Dense Foods. So this is a cookbook from Crystal LeBrake, and I really am enjoying it. So let's get back to the recipe. Okay, so the recipe calls for 2 eggs. I am going to crack one into a bowl here. And I like to do that just to make sure that I've got a good egg. Save the shells for the compost. And we can put that in there and get our next egg. Move it up here. These are farm eggs that we get, and I just love that the yolk is so bright. And every once in a while you will get something that might look like it might be something you want to scoop out, so I'm just going to use a shell. I notice when I try to use my finger it just kind of gets further and further away, but if I use the shell I can usually get it out okay. Oh, almost. Let's try again. There we go. Okay, now our coconut oil is all ready. I am going to go ahead and mix the eggs before I add the coconut oil. We'll just break up those yolks and get everything incorporated into the sourdough waffle batter. So I'm really excited about putting some of these away in the freezer for Roger and I. And I have my mini waffle. Just see, I don't know what that is. My mini waffle maker. Actually, I have 2 of them. So making the waffles should go faster. But this batter is just wonderful. It's very light and fluffy. So I think these are going to turn out really good. And I think we're almost ready for the coconut oil, and then we'll add baking soda after that. Okay, here's the coconut oil, and that is a 1/2 cup of coconut oil. I'm going to mix that in. Okay, and just a little pro tip, I got my whisk and I got it wet. That will help everything not to stick and make it easier to blend in. I am going to move this towel just so I don't spill. Okay, and I should know better. I don't have my apron on now, but that's the way it goes when you're cooking at night and trying to get a few things done and just ready for the morning, giving myself that treat, you know, that gift of get it done now because in the morning it'll be easier. Try not to splash the oil. Okay. Looks good. I think we'll add the baking soda. So I'm adding 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And here's 1 and 2. Okay, and I just went to plug in the waffle makers, and I will wait till both of the lights are off before I pour the batter in. Okay, I'm ready to stir the baking soda in. I just went and took the eggs out to the compost bin. And Roger will add those to the compost pile. So continually still working on the gardening, even though It is November 25th today. And I don't know, it's just exciting to think that everything just continues even though we stop working as hard. Things are still happening behind the scenes. And I think it just reminds me of how much, you know, even though we don't always feel it or see it, God is constantly working on our behalf. Okay, friends, I'm just going to rub some of this balm into my cutting board here. This is something I learned to make with just coconut oil and beeswax, and it really just helps to kind of protect and condition your wooden utensils. I did all my utensils, kind of buffing that in. I'm pretty rough on this cutting board here. You can see all the scratches, but I like to think of it as a lot of love has gone into creating a lot of the food that we eat. I think if you're new to the channel, one of the things that I really live by is that there's a difference between being fed and being nourished. And so, while we certainly eat some processed foods, we do our best to try to cook things from scratch with whole food ingredients so that our bodies are getting what they need and what they were designed, you know, as close as possible to what they require and what they need. Okay, so let's get going with the waffles. Got the batter here, and I'm amazed by this batter. Okay, friends, it's a busy night here in the kitchen, but I'm just gonna check my turkey bone broth, and it looks like it's, I would say it's done. The color of that broth just looks beautiful. So I'll be putting that into canning jars. I'm not sure if I'm gonna freeze it or can it, but we will have to see. But in any case, I'm going to turn this off and let it cool for now. I'm really liking the colder weather outside too. It's in the 40s, and so we're able to leave things covered on the porch outside, or you know, sometimes even in the garage. So that really helps, because the room in the fridge, especially with the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday approaching, gets a little tight, if you know what I mean. Okay, well, our waffle irons are both ready. The lights are off. I've got my cup, and I've got, this is what we use for coffee. It's a 2 tablespoon scoop. And I've got some water here that I'm going to be using to dish the batter out. So I'm just going to open these, and I will get the batter for the sourdough waffles. And I'm going to start with just a scoop and see how that does. And what will happen, if I remember correctly, is that try to keep it in the center, that when they are ready, the light will come back on. So we'll keep an eye on those two and be right back. Okay, and it's time to check the first one. That looks good to me. Let's see underneath here. That looks great. I think next time I might just put a little more batter. But I'm going to put that onto our plate. And we'll check the second. I think that one's done too. And again, I think we will put more batter on. Maybe I'll try 2 scoops. Or a heaping scoop. We'll try the heaping scoop first. Okay. And we'll be back. Okay, the lights are on, so we're still waiting. Once they go off, we'll open them up and get the fork and see if they're done. And if you had company over and you wanted to put them on a cookie tray or cookie sheet and keep them in a oven that was warm, that would be fine too, or cover them with a towel. whatever works for your individual situation. Okay, our lights are off now. I'm gonna open these up. These are going very quick. And if you didn't see the other video, I will try to link it in the iCards. I use the EINKORN flour. Now, I somewhat recently learned about EINKORN flour. You know, I used to get my flour from the grocery store, and then I tried making a sourdough starter. That's when I realized how old the flour is at the grocery store. So I think that looks good. We'll close these. And come to discover, I could not make a sourdough starter. We tried several times and finally got to the point where we came across Mary's Nest, and she shared how you can use rye berries and grind them into rye flour. And so that's how we made our sourdough starter. And so the sourdough starter that I made, I still use to bake bread. I use it in recipes like this. It's very versatile. But all this to say, ingredients really do matter. Quality is important because our bodies are important. So I like to really try to get the best source that I'm able to and that I'm able to afford. That's also an important thing too. Okay, so this light went off, but this one didn't yet, so I'll open this one first. These waffle irons are ones that we got last year at Walmart, and they have been working so good. This is a non-stick coating, so they really come out very nice. And with the coconut oil in there, it's going to keep it so it doesn't stick on you. Just a really light, fluffy batter. Okay, that one looks great. You might want to put a little bit more right on the edge there. See how we do with that. So I have to tell you, while we're waiting for these, I'm just so enjoying baking. And I do consider this baking, even though it's a waffle iron. With the garden being done for the most part, I mean, we still have the kale out there, and we have spinach, some radishes that may or may not produce. But now it's time to just come in and to settle more and to be inside, although we still take our walks, and to get more rest and I think nourishment. So I really look forward to fall and winter. Okay, this one looks ready. And I'll get the batter right away for this so we can close it up. And the light is off here. So we are cruising right along. And a lot of these waffles I'll be putting into the freezer. So, I mean, there are mornings when I'm in the mood to bake, and then there are mornings when I'm not in the mood to bake. And usually we'll have special things on Sundays, so this could be a special thing, but really I would have this during any day of the week. Okay, let's fill this waffle iron. And really you could add blueberries, apples. We're doing a lot of freeze drying, so we have Asian apple pears that we had put in the freeze dryer. And if you're not familiar yet with a freeze dryer, it's somewhat like a dehydrator, except it is a bit bigger. It's a lot bigger, I would say. It's not huge, but you can get different sizes. But it basically freezes the food and then dries it. So the one that we have is a harvest rate, and we have the large one. It has 5 trays, and we use it quite a bit. Okay, we've got another one done. These are almost like, I would say, Belgian waffles. They're that thick and fluffy. So it'd be great to make them fancy if you wanted with whipped cream. I know that my middle stepdaughter loves whipped cream and different toppings on top of her waffles. In fact, sometimes she won't even eat the waffles. She'll just eat the sweet stuff on there. Okay, and this light just went off. And you could flavor these with pumpkin. I mean, I love eggnog. I'm thinking, you know, you could do an eggnog variation. I opened my spice cupboard the other day and I had mace in there. And it's not the kind of mace that you would spray someone with, like an intruder or someone bothering you. M-A-C-E, and it's similar to nutmeg. And it smelled so good. So I can just imagine these like with a gingerbread spice or something of the sort. It'd be so delicious. Okay, friend, we are going to take these last two out, and I'm going to take a break with this and end the video. We will be storing this batch in a freezer tight, it looks like it might need a little longer. Let's leave that one for a little bit. Storing them in a gallon size freezer bag once they cool down. And then putting them into the freezer. I think I might leave maybe a couple out of each. But I will be doing the rest of this. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that you are having a good time in your kitchen. And if you're wanting to, please subscribe and like this video. Remember, the best way you can help us on the homestead is to like our videos and share them. Take care, friends. God bless. Bye-bye.